Welcome to my live stream, the #1 place where you can learn how to turn your Etsy side hobby into your full-time income. My name is Brendan Dopp, and today I will be showing you 5 different ways to do trend research in the coming year. For those of you that are tuned in right now, go ahead and comment in the live chat where you're tuning in from. And for those of you that are watching this on the replay, I will add chapters down below so that you can easily navigate through the stream and watch the parts that interest you most. But thank you so much for tuning in today. We will go ahead and get started. And for those of you that are tuned in, let me know where you're tuning in from, and I'll happily reach out to you. But first off, happy early New Year's. And thanks for spending time this morning to tune in and to take time out of your day to learn more about print on demand and selling on Etsy. So the first thing I want to share here is some great resources to gain knowledge on upcoming trends and to really be ahead of the game and to figure out what is currently that will be performing well for you. So we're going to go ahead and share my screen here. So we have LV Munn. Thank you so much for being here from the UK. But I'm going to share my screen and we're going to start talking about a few things here. So if you are familiar with Vexels or you're not familiar with Vexels, I talk about them a lot here on my channel. And they have a great resource. Their blog post is a great resource. It's free to anyone. You don't have to be subscribed to Vexels. And you can read their blog posts, and they share a lot of valuable information on upcoming trends and things that are very applicable to your business and for scaling your business. But if you go to Vexels and then you go to tools, then down here on the bottom, you can select blog. And they're always updating their blog, but for their most recent post that they did, it's 23 t-shirt design trends for print on demand in 2023, which is very valuable. And there's a lot of great trend predictions that they have that I think are very interesting and that can be a great idea for you to start designing in. But I'm going to show you some of these. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but there are 23 different options to choose from. And what is interesting is last year they did the same kind of blog post for year 2022. And a lot of those predictions that they had became very relevant and they were very true and accurate. So I think it's worth your time to read through these different ideas that they have and to consider start designing in these specific trends, because I would be willing to bet that they do become very popular in the year of 2023. But you can see there's a lot of different ideas here. Tie-dye hippie style, this was popular in 2022, the retro fonts and retro theme designs. And I would agree and believe that it's going to continue to be popular in the coming year. There's some really interesting ones too that I aren't positive about, but I think could be true, is poorly handwritten quotes. I'm not exactly sure what they mean by that, but something that you could look into and might be something worth your while to look into. But a lot of cool ones like landscapes. You could start doing more landscape designs for your print on demand shop. Positive vibes is always a great one for Etsy. Retro futuristic, fantasy. So a lot of interesting ideas that I would have never thought of unless I read this blog post. And then if you scroll down here, they break down each trend and they give you more information on what they are and what they mean and what it entails, so that you can have a better understanding of it for when you begin your designing process. But it's definitely worthwhile and worth your read to look into this to help yourself get ahead of the game and to figure out what is going to be trending and popular in the coming year. And something else that is interesting with this, as I did my preparation for the stream and figured out some different ideas that I wanted to share with you for doing trend research, it was interesting to see a lot of these different ideas here be relevant and be surfacing on these different platforms that I do my trend research on. And I'll be going through those today with you. So take mental note that you'll see some of these ideas here in the research that we do today. So Bethany, thanks for being here. So good to have you here. For everyone else that's here, go ahead and comment in the live chat where you're tuning in from. I'm interested to see where our community's from and where everyone is coming from. But so right now we're going to now dive into different ways to do your trend research. So the first one I want to talk about is doing your research on big box stores. So these big box stores, big companies such as like Target, they are pouring money into doing their market research, and it's a great way to piggyback off of them and to figure out what they're designing and what they're creating, because I would guarantee that what they're creating is a design and elements that will be trending in the coming year. And so what I will like to do is I'll go to Target. So I'll share my first example here. So I'll go to Target, I'll go up here to categories and then hit this drop down arrow. And then I'll come down here to clothing, shoes, and accessories. And then depending on what I am designing for, so if I'm doing men's clothing, kids clothing, or women's clothing, I would select that specific category. For this example, I will select women's clothing. And then I will come down here to graphic tees. And then once I'm in graphic tees here, what you can do, which is very handy, is under the filter button, you can sort this by best selling. So at the top, sort by featured, I will change this to bestseller and then hit update, update. And now it's sorted by best selling designs that I can gain inspiration from and figure out what I want to possibly incorporate in my own store. And anytime I'm doing my trend research, things that I look out for are reoccurring themes, font styles, graphics, color palettes, colors of shirts, types of graphic placements. So are they doing sleeve prints, back prints? Are they doing small chest graphics? These are all things I like to take mental note of when I'm doing my research. And as you start to do more trend research and really figure out what's trending on different platforms, you'll start to pick up quickly on reoccurring elements. So I'd scroll through the first few pages here and see what is doing really, or see what I notice. So like, are they doing retro fonts? Are they using varsity fonts? What type of placement are they doing, etc. And I know what you might be wondering is, okay, but they're doing a lot of trademark designs like Disney designs and different bands and things to that nature. It doesn't matter that they're doing that, because you can still pull inspiration from that even though you can't use that. And I highly recommend never designing something like that unless you want your store to get taken down. But you can still gain inspiration. So for example, like a band shirt, okay, they're using a big graphic. And look, they trend combined here. So they have the Santa hat on the animal there with their band name. So it's like little things like that you can really gain inspiration from and figure out, okay, how can I apply this to my store and to whatever niche that I'm designing in? Here's an example of doing so this is not entirely, but somewhat retro font. They have the warp text there, which isn't a bad example. And then I would, just figure out what's best and how can I apply this to my store? So moving on, there's some other big box stores that you can use. So another example that I like to reference often is Shein. If I'm mispronouncing that, let me know in the chat there. But you can do the exact same thing. So you can sort by top rated, and then again, scroll through here and see what recurring elements you see. So you'll see a lot of varsity fonts here. And then, just gain inspiration, take notes. What we like to do is my wife keeps a Google Sheet where she takes notes of specific phrases that she likes so that she can look up later to see if it's trademarked or not, as well as just different design ideas and things that she could possibly start designing. Another example is Forever 21. You can do the exact same thing, sort by most popular, and then look through and see different ideas. So here's a great example. The warped text that's retro look, has that retro look to it. And then another thing you can do is just look at stores that you like. So like clothing stores that you follow that sell graphic shirts, you can look at what they're doing and gain inspiration from them. So really piggyback off of these big companies that are doing market research and figure out what they're selling, because I would guarantee that's what will sell in the coming year for your own store on Etsy. Okay, so that's number one. The next thing that I would do, or next way I could do my trend research, is using Pinterest. If you're not using Pinterest, it's a great resource for doing your trend research and to really gain inspiration. There's a lot of inspiration that can come from searching on Pinterest. So what I will do is in the search bar, search for whatever niche that I'm designing for. So if you're doing, let's say, designing for the medical field or whatever it is, you can search that. Or if you are or you can just do a general search like graphic t-shirt, and then again look through here and see what is recurring. So I'll notice a lot here on Pinterest is a lot of backprints. That was very popular in the last year, and I would believe it will continue to be popular in the coming year of 2023. A lot of retro fonts you'll see on Pinterest. And I personally believe that a lot of the trendy clothing is going to be found here on Pinterest. So it's a great resource for doing your trend research. And what you can do too is save these pins to a board for your graphic, for your design inspiration board, or whatever you want to name it, so that you can reference later for when you're ready to do your designing. But a lot of great ideas can come from searching through Pinterest. So highly recommend using Pinterest and figuring out what is working. And another thing you can do too, so you'll see here on Pinterest is a lot of these are from bigger stores and bigger companies. You can then click through to their store and see what else they're doing. So ASOS, you can look through. So yeah, whatever it is, Urban Outfitters, go through Urban Outfitters platform or through their storefront and see what they're selling and what type of designs they're offering. But another great way to figure out different trends and possible things you can design in. Okay, we're going to continue to move on. So for those of you that are here, if you have questions, we have 9 people on this live stream right now. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them in the live chat. I'll be happy to answer them the best that I can as I continue to share more ideas on ways you can do trend research in the coming year. All right, so we will move on here. So we have 8 other people. Where are you guys from? Where are you tuning in from? I'd be curious to hear. And then we will continue on here. Let me get my screen situated here. All right, so we will continue to move on. So the next way I like to do my trend research is going directly to the source. So directly on Etsy, you can gain a lot of inspiration on what's working currently on Etsy. And what I will first do when I'm on Etsy is I will go to clothing and shoes here, and then come down to tops and tees. And then once I'm down here, what you can do is you over on the right-hand side where it says sort by relevancy, hit this drop-down arrow, and you can either sort by most recent. So that means listings that have recently sold will have renewed and will be ranking on the first page, or they have been recently listed. So they've been recently created, but the next, you can do that, or you can sort by top customer reviews. So these are stores that have a high review rating, and you know that they've figured out Etsy, they figured out what's working, what's selling, and you can sort it by that way so you can really see what is working. And then the same exact process is just scroll through here, take notes of what recurring themes you see, what type of color palettes you see, what type of font styles, what type of graphics, what type of graphic placement, and take notes of those, and then go and incorporate those in your own design. And anytime you're doing your trend research, it's never with the idea to, okay, this design's doing well, I'm going to completely copy it and I'm going to have a lot of sales because of it. I can promise you that won't work. You have to just gain inspiration from it, figure out how you can trend combine and create your own unique version, including those popular trending elements that specific bestseller is using. So you have to be unique, you have to be different in order to stand out on Etsy, because it is a very competitive marketplace. There's a lot of sellers on Etsy, but there is still potential to make money and a lot of opportunity to make money if you're willing to put in the work and do your trend research and figure out what is working, and then also to be willing to experiment and know that some designs you create aren't going to sell. There's only a few handful of listings that really do well in our store. Not all of our listings sell consistently. It's just a few handfuls. So you have to be willing to go through that trial and error process to figure out what is working. Okay, so that's the first way on Etsy. The next way is that you can search a specific keyword for something that you are designing for. So let's do shirts for nurses. So I'd search shirt for nurses. And then after I've done that, I will come over here and you can do the exact same process, either sort by top customer reviews or sort by most recent. And that's a great way to filter things or listings that are doing really well. But the best way and the way that I found most effective is coming over here to the left-hand side under all filters. And then you can sort by bestseller, hit apply. And now this will sort by all the best-selling listings currently for this specific keyword and this specific niche on Etsy. And I would recommend, on I recommend ignoring the listings that say add by Etsy seller because they're paying for this placement, so they're not ranking organically. So ignore those ones. But the ones that don't have add by, so it's going to be almost every other. So every other list or every other row is going to be add by. But these ones that don't have add by are great examples of ones that are performing well and selling well here on Etsy. And then do the same thing, just see what's working and gain inspiration from that, take notes, and then go and create your own unique designs from it. But you'll still see today there's a lot of listings that are performing well that have this retro style font style with the chest graphic and then the back print. So if you're not doing those in your store, I highly recommend adding that to your store. And it's because it's a great way to increase your sales because it is popular and it is in demand right now. Here's another one. But yeah, a lot of different ideas here to choose from. Okay, so we've talked about those. The next one I want to talk about, so we have a few more people. We have Patricia from Ohio, good to have you here. Bethany from Michigan, Marina from Florida, and then Patricia, did you cover eRank yet? So I didn't cover eRank, but I'm not going to cover that in this stream today, but that is another great resource that you can access. You can search top selling stores on eRank and gain inspiration from the top selling stores to see what they're doing. But that's a great recommendation. Thank you, Patricia, for that. But the next idea I want to talk about for doing your trend research is using the EverBee Chrome extension. I've talked a lot about them on my channel recently. And the reason I've talked a lot about them is because I honestly believe it is an extremely valuable tool. Like there is so much data and analytics you can pull from the EverBee Chrome extension, where you can really know if a listing is doing well. I've noticed in the past, I would think a listing was performing well, but I was surprised to know after looking through on EverBee that it wasn't doing as well as I had expected. But really what the EverBee Chrome extension does is it will do everything that I have been doing in the past by doing my research directly on Etsy, but it streamlines the process. It makes it so much easier and so much faster, as well as includes the analytics and the data for that specific listing. So I'll show you exactly what I mean if you aren't familiar with the EverBee Chrome extension. So the first thing you can do is if you go up here to the search bar and you want to say, let's design shirts for dog lovers, you can type in dog lover, and then you'll see as this auto populates with my search bar, you can see the Chrome extension will add these monthly searches to give you an idea of how many monthly searches this specific keyword has, so you can know what keywords to include in your listing, as well as possible design ideas that you can do. So like dog lover gift is an example, 362 monthly searches. So it's just another way to figure out what keywords are actually being searched. But let's do shirts for nurses. I really like that example, and that's a great niche to design for. So shirt for nurses. Sorry. So I'll let it audio populate. So I'll go ahead and hit enter. Okay. So now that I've gone through here, I will look at these listings, do the same process, but what you can do now with the Chrome extension tool is you'll see this little B here in the bottom right-hand corner. You can click on the B, and when you click on the B, it will pull up individual analytics for this listing. So I can see how old it is. So this is a 4-month-old listing. It has 21 total reviews. Estimated monthly reviews is 5. Total favorites, 346. Total sales, 103. Estimated monthly sales is 25. And estimated monthly revenue is $450. So this isn't exact data, but it is very, very close. I ran this on my own store to see how it compares for my top selling listings, if the revenue is similar and if the total sales is similar. And I was surprised how close it is. It's usually within 5 to 15 range of a difference. So it really is very close and pretty accurate for the algorithm that they're running to be able to pull this data. So highly recommend it. You can also get their keywords so you can see what they're using in their title. You can easily copy that to your clipboard for inspiration and for keyword ideas, as well as their tags. And with their tags, it's going to also show you their monthly searches. So it gives you the keyword scores. So for this is the number that how many times it has been searched in the last month. So very, 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 very valuable. The next thing you can do that's even more valuable that I love is instead of just looking on individual listings, you can go over to the left-hand side and select product analytics. And that will run the analytics on this entire search results for our keyword shirts for nurses. And you'll see it runs data for 70 listings specifically. And what you can do is sort by estimated sales in the last month, or sort by estimated revenue in the last month, which I like to do, which I feel like is the most valuable. And it will give you this breakdown. So average favorites, average price, average monthly sales for these listings in this specific niche. But I'll go ahead and sort this by estimated revenue. So here's an insane example. And I'm glad I did this because this is a really cool example. So here's a nurse sweatshirt. It looks like they're, I don't know if it's a couple shirt or not. We'll look into it here in a second, but you can see the price for this shirt. Estimated sales in the last month is 1,212. So this is proven data that this listing is performing well and that it is selling. Estimated revenue in the last month is $42,000. This isn't the take-home money. This is the revenue. So the profit is anywhere between, I'd guess, 10 and 20% of that. Estimated total sales is 8,577. Listing reviews, they have close to 600 reviews. Listing age is 7 months old. They have over almost 3,000 favorites on this listing. Average reviews per month, 79. Shop age, 30 months. So they're not that old of a shop. Total shop sales is 66,000. So it gives you a ton of valuable data on these listings. What you can do is, if you find a listing that is performing well, is you can go here and click this star, and that will add it to your favorites. So over here on your left side, you can select your favorites, and it will show you what listings, or you can then refer back to that, to your favorites, and you can create subfolders so you can go back to that later and figure out what you want to design. And remember, oh yeah, I found this one that did really well, and I want to create my own spin off of this, my own unique design, including these trending elements that they're using. So really, really, really great tool to use. So Patricia, what version of EverBee are you using? So I'm using their growth plan. It gives you the most searches, and I think it's the most valuable, or it's the most beneficial, because you really have unlimited searches for on Etsy for keywords and for your listings. So okay, another thing I want to show you with this is we'll click through this listing because I'm curious to see exactly what this is. You can click through directly through their from that EverBee directly to their listing. Okay, so they have their bestseller. They have 20 people having this in their cart. Okay, let's look here. So there, it looks like it's just it's a shirt for nurses, specifically probably for graduated nurses, but they almost market it as if it's a couples thing, or you buy multiple of them. So here, great example. I bought these sweaters as a graduation gift to my nursing school friends. So I'm sure they bought several of them, or it looks like they bought a few of them, but here's a great idea that you could start designing for, and it's a great niche to design in. Another thing that I forgot to mention prior to talking about EverBee, which is, so this is for those of you that don't currently have the budget for EverBee, and you don't want to invest in EverBee, you can also have more proof of data of if a listing is performing well or not. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit here. So we'll use this nurse example. So if I were to search a specific keyword again, and I see a listing that stands out to me, and I want to know if it's actually selling well and have a better idea if it's selling well, and I let's say I don't have the EverBee Chrome extension, I'll click through onto this listing, and I'll see, okay, it has the bestseller badge, so it means it has a high sales volume over the past 6 months. It has, and these are things that you should look for when you click through onto a listing to really know if it's selling well or not. So if it has the bestseller badge, and then down here it says over 20 people have this in their cart, it's an indicator that's a popular item. So it has that. And then I'd come down here and I'd sort by most recent reviews. And if it has several recent reviews within the last week, then you know that it's selling well. Because not everyone's going to be leaving reviews, but if there are a handful of reviews, then you know, okay, this is an indicator that this is a popular design. People are loving it and it's selling. And how can I incorporate this into my own store, creating my own unique design? And this is a great example here of trend combining, which I talk a lot about on my channel. So they took a career or a profession, they trend combined it with a retro font, as well as with the really popular pastel color palette, as well as incorporating it with these really cute looking flowers. So great example of trend combining. And that is exactly why this is a bestseller. So if you are not trend combining in your store right now, you need to start doing that in order to set yourself apart and to really start making sales in your store. And then the last thing I would look for to make sure and prove that this is actually doing well is I'd scroll all the way to the bottom here. And you'll see it says listed on December 30th. So that means it was sold on December 30th. So it hasn't sold yet today. It's the 31st, but it sold yesterday. So it had sold recently, as well as it will show you how many favorites this specific listing has. So this is all the data you can get from EverBee, but EverBee just makes it so much faster, so much easier, and it will give you the estimated total sales, which you can't get on your own. Also, it'll give you the estimated revenue, which you can't get on your own. So let's use the EverBee Chrome extension here. So I'm on the specific listing, and I got to refresh this 1 second. Okay, so when you're on a specific listing, you'll see you also can click the B here, and it'll give you the data. So this one has sold 25 times and has done estimated $450 in revenue in the last month. So it's not killing it, but it is selling, and it's doing well for them. So okay. Next thing I want to talk about here is if we click through to a store. So let's go back to our nurse example. With the EverBee Chrome extension, you can run product analytics specifically on a store. So like for this example, let's say we found this design or this listing that's doing really well for them. It piques my interest. I'm like, okay, I want to know what else the store is selling and see what it is that they're selling that is also doing well for them and that I could also possibly gain inspiration from. So I'll click through to their store here. And so it looks like there's interesting. So they're doing a lot of digital products. So they only have looks like they only have one shirt listing. So this isn't a great example, but this is interesting because if you didn't see my most recent video, I did a digital product video talking about the best-selling digital products. So here's another example for those of you that are doing digital products. I'm kind of going side note here. Looks like they're selling a lot of digital products specifically for nurses. So calendars, calculations, and not all of them are digital products, but an idea. But anyways, back to our example here. What I will do is I'll go over here to the left-hand side and I'll select product analytics, and this will run analytics just for this store. So it's going to give me their best-selling listings, and I can again sort by estimated sales in the last month or estimated revenue in the last month. So estimated revenue in the last month looks like, so that's not a digital item, that's their bestseller for them, but their shirt that they're selling or the sweatshirt that they're selling, that example I showed you, is their next bestseller. So let's do it on a different example because that wasn't the best example. So we'll go to this store here and we will run product analytics. So yeah, they're doing primarily, they're doing only print on demand. So this is a better example. Product analytics. And then again, I'll sort by either estimated revenue in the last month or estimated sales in the last month. So their best selling item for their store is this wildflowers mug. So if you're not selling mugs, here's an idea. You could possibly start selling mugs and be willing to experiment with it. So their mug is bringing them in 200 sales. So last month they did 206 sales. Estimated revenue in the last month is all close to $5,000 for a mug, which is really impressive. And then also all the other data will give you. So, and their shop's only two years old, looks like, and they have 24,000 in sales. So they've figured it out. They have figured out Etsy and they're doing well. So we'll click through on this listing. So yeah, really simple. It's a customizable mug. So another example for you. So yeah, these are a lot of great examples that you can use and incorporate in your own store today. I'm not a huge fan of customization and personalization just because it's not as passive. My whole idea for ever starting Etsy and doing print on demand was to create a business that would be as passive as possible. But there is a lot of money when it comes to personalization. And if you do one like this, it's very simple, where all you have to do is change the name on the design. You can do that very quickly within seconds before you send that into production. So here's a great example. This mug makes them close to $5,000 in revenue every month. And all you have to do is switch the name. And here's another great example. So I don't know what one came first. You'd have to dig in deeper, but their shirt that I just showed you, it said nurse with the flowers, that started to do really well for them. So they created this mug, or vice versa. So they doubled down on what was working. They added it to different products and they increased their sales that way. So that's another huge thing you need to do in your store, especially in this coming year. If you find something that's working, double down on it, add it to different products, create different versions of it, add it to different niches, incorporating the same elements and types of fonts, colors, etc. within different niches. But great example. Okay. All right. So Patricia says sells mugs. So I think she is recommending selling mugs. If not, let me know. Okay. So that is EverBee in a nutshell. It's a great resource and it's a great tool to invest in. It's really the way I view it is I know when you're starting out, it's very hard to want to spend extra money when you're not making any money. And I totally get that. I totally understand. And it doesn't make sense to spend more money if you're not making anything. But you have to think of it on the counter side. If it will allow you to make more money and it will increase your sales and your revenue, then it is a no brainer. If you have to spend $7 a month or $30 a month or whatever program it is that you're looking into, if you have to spend a little extra money in order to make a lot more money, it's well worth your investment to grow your business. And I honestly believe you have to be willing to spend some money in order to make really good money. And EverBee is a tool that I highly recommend. I wouldn't recommend it on my channel if I didn't believe it was valuable and could really help grow your business. And I'm continuing to experiment with it and learn more about it. And I plan on continuing to share more about it and my ideas on it. But at the moment, I found it to be very, very valuable. Okay, so we went on a few tangents there. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in here. If you're finding value in this live stream, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe so you can know when I put out new content. And for those of you that are tuned in, please, if you have any questions, let me know in the live chat. I will be happy to answer them the best that I can. There's a few more ideas I want to talk about for doing trend research, but those were the main ideas that I showed you. But the next one that I want to talk about that is so easy to do and it's free is making sure you do trend research when you're out and about doing your grocery shopping or picking your kids up from school or whatever it is. That is the best way to see what's currently in and to know what people are actually wearing right now. You'll be so surprised. The more you start to sell on Etsy and the more you start to create designs and do your trend research, it's interesting how easily you pick up on designs and different trends that are happening, as well as it really gets to the point to where you can know if someone bought that shirt off of Etsy or not because you've done so much research on Etsy. But it's so easy and valuable to do your trend research when you're out and about and to see what your friends are wearing, to see what people are wearing at the store, at the mall, etc. A lot of the times when we go grocery shopping or run errands, we will always take a detour and we'll go to the clothing section of whatever store we're in, if there's a clothing section, just to see what designs there are and to see what type of fonts they're doing and prints, etc. So make sure you're always on the lookout because you'll pick up on ideas that could possibly be your next bestseller in your store and could possibly really take your store from making no sales to making handful of several sales every single day. So that's the last bit that I have for you. Okay. I want to answer some questions. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know in the live chat and I'll be answering any question that you have. And then I want to talk about how you can prepare for the coming year and some things you can do to get yourself ahead so that you're ready to really take your business to the next level and to make this your full-time thing if it's not already. So go ahead. If you have questions, ask them in the live chat. I'll be answering any question that you have. Okay. So if there's no questions, we will go ahead and move forward. Okay, so the first thing I mentioned this earlier, but it's important to double down on what is already working. This is the easiest and fastest way to increase your sales. So if you've created one design for a t-shirt that's starting to gain momentum and sell well for you, consider adding it to a sweatshirt, to a tank top if it's applicable, or to a mug, whatever it is. Be willing to experiment and double down because if it's selling on a t-shirt, I can guarantee you it's going to sell on a sweatshirt. And then also with that, apply it to different niches. So if you create a design for the medical field, the medical profession, and it's doing well, figure out how you can add that to a different field. So for whatever niches that you're designing for, incorporate that in your next niche, and you'll see it will start to gain momentum and sell well for you too. So don't be afraid to double down, and don't forget to double down, because that's the easiest and fastest way to increase your sales. Okay, so how do we prepare for the coming year? There's a handful of things, and when I was making this list, there are so many things I wanted to talk about, but I'm going to keep it brief and short, and I'm going to share the most valuable things that I think will help you to really succeed in the coming year. The first one is, because we're at the end of the year and we're coming into a new year, I'm going to talk about goal setting. And I think goal setting is talked a lot about, but I really do believe it's so important if you want to achieve something in life. And so if you're not able to set a goal and you're not willing to set a goal, you're going to do a lot of just busy work where you're not really working towards something. So if I were you today after this live stream or right now, I recommend writing down a listing goal. So you can set a goal for how many listings you want to have. So how many total listings you want to have for the coming year. So by the end of 2023, how many total listings do you want to have? And then break it down to how many listings you need to do a month, as well as how many listings you need to do a day. And that's going to be different for everyone. For me personally, when I started out my shop, I was trying my best to do 5 new designs every single day and to create listings for those 5 designs. For you, it might be 1 because you're busy, or it might be 1 every other day or once a week. Whatever it is, set a goal and then stick to that goal. And if you do that, I promise you'll start to see an increase in sales in your store. Creating listings and creating new designs is the most important thing you can do to grow your shop. And with that, they can't just be any listing. You have to create high quality listings. So the goal and the idea is to create a large quantity of high quality listings. And if you're able to do that, so creating listings with trending fonts, elements, etc., as well as using proven SEO and using high quality mockups, I guarantee you will start to see sales in your shop. If right now you're not seeing sales, I would be willing to bet that the reason is because you're not creating the design that someone wants, and you're not using proven SEO, and you're not using high quality mockups. Those are the 3 most important things you can do to have a successful Etsy shop. Okay, so that's number 1 to how to prepare for the coming year, is to set a goal for how many listings you want to have by the end of the year, and break that all the way down to how many listings you're going to do every single day, and stick to that goal. The next thing I want to talk about is being willing to invest in your business, especially in tools that will streamline your business to create more time for yourself to do what you want, and to also to allow you to take your business to the next level. There are a lot of great tools out there that I talk a lot about on my channel. And not every tool that works great for me is going to work great for you. You need to figure out what works best for you. But there's tools for doing your keyword research. There's tools for doing your designing. And some examples are Vexels is a great tool that I've talked about before. There's also EverBee, which I've talked about, Creative Fabrica. There's so many different tools out there that will help streamline the process, that will create systems for your business so that you don't have to put as much time in, because you're using these tools to really automate things. So don't be afraid to invest in your business if you have the money to do so. And also, sometimes you might need to make that small sacrifice to invest a little in order to really grow. So don't be afraid to invest in your business, because I think the whole idea here with Etsy is at least selling print on demand, because it is so passive and it is so hands off after you've done the upfront work, other than doing your customer service and things like that, is you have to create this business model and let me backtrack. So you don't want to create a business that's going to take more of your time. So the whole idea of doing print on demand is to free up your time to do what you want. No one works because they love to work. If you do, I applaud you. But most people I've met, they don't work because they love to work. They work so that they can fund the things that they love to do. And that's the whole idea here. So you can, with print on demand, the beauty of it is you really can create this monster that will be completely automated for you, other than the customer service that you have to do and the other little things like continually adding new listings and things. But it can make you money passively while you're sleeping, while you're traveling, while you're spending time with your family, whatever it is important to you, it can do that for you. So invest in yourself, invest in your business, so that you can make your business be as hands-off as possible and be as streamlined as possible. Okay, next one I want to talk about, and I think this is the most important thing I can share with you, and the most important thing I can teach you on my channel, is you need to find your why. If you don't have a why, it will be very difficult for you to stick through it when times are hard. Because I can guarantee and promise you that there will be times when you're not making sales, especially in the beginning. Even after you started to gain momentum, there will be times where you have dips, where you have lows, and then when you have highs. So if you don't have a why and a reason for doing this, it'll be very difficult to stick with it, and it will be very easy to quit. So find your why, and once you have your why, stick to your why and tell yourself that quitting isn't an option. If this is something for you and you think it has the potential to be good for you, then just tell yourself, I am not going to quit when times are hard. And as you do that, you will be able to get through the hard times and see your business grow to places, to levels and places that you never thought it could. So find your why. And I know everyone has their own different why. For us, we created this business to allow us to be able to travel remotely. And we wanted to not be tied down to a specific location, and doing print on demand, because it is so hands off. It was that for us. And now we're able to travel when we want, where we want, how often as we want, because we've created a business doing print on demand on Etsy that allows us to do so. And that why keeps us motivated. It keeps us driven to continue to stick with it when times are hard. Okay. And another side note with that too is what's interesting is we started doing print on demand and selling Etsy, and selling on Etsy, and it may not be your end goal. Like, that may not be your end thing, but I can promise you it will lead you to other ventures and to other businesses. We had no intention ever to start a YouTube channel, or no intention to create a digital mockup shop, or start other businesses in that realm. But it was because we took action and we started our print on demand business that led us to starting a YouTube channel, that led us to starting a mockup shop, and to our other businesses. So it's interesting how life will take you if you are willing to discipline yourself, and if you're willing to take action and to start. So you have to start. And if you start, and if you stick to things, and if you stick to your why, good things will happen for you. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about, this goes hand in hand with what we've kind of been talking about here, is mindset. Mindset is everything. If you can get in a mental space that you're going to be happy, you're going to be positive, and you're going to stick through things when they're hard, you are going to go very far in life. So you have to have the right mindset and tell yourself that, okay, good things are going to happen. I will have hard times, but it's not going to prevent me from my end goal or my end why. And with that too is you can really achieve what you want if you're willing to discipline yourself. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're willing to put in the work and learn something new, you can achieve it and you can do it. I had no background experience in e-commerce. I had no background experience in selling on Etsy, no background experience on creating designs. But because we took action and we had the mindset that this is what we wanted to do, we've been able to get where we are now today. But yeah, I hope the best for all of you. I really do have the reason for this channel was to hopefully share what I've learned during the process, and to make the process easier and faster for you to get from point A to point Z much faster than having to go through the hard work. So if you haven't watched all of my videos on my channel, I highly recommend watching them, because I give you so much valuable information for free, step-by-step tutorials that will help you get your shop up and running and to start making daily sales. But I feel like I've done a lot of talking today, more talking at you than talking with you. So if you have questions, if there's any question that you want answered and you need to get it answered, ask it in the live chat and I'll happily answer it. But I see a few questions now that we'll go through. So here. All right. If you're finding value in this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also share it with a friend or family member that you know would benefit from it. And also, if you're not in our Facebook group, Print on Demand Warriors, we have a private Facebook group that you can join, where you can be a part of a community with other sellers who are doing the same thing as you, who will answer questions for you. But it's a great community to be a part of. Okay, so Patricia, do you sell in the UK? What about the new requirement for selling there? So we primarily focus all of our listings for the United States. That's where most of our sales come from. But with UK, or with Printify especially, it's not as easy to sell internationally because there's not as many international locations. But with Printful, it's very easy to sell internationally because of their locations that they have throughout the world. So you can get your items to your customers very quickly, which is very nice. And it's at a very affordable cost, and there's not these very long shipping times. But there is a lot of caveats with that. So like you're talking about here, the new requirements for selling there, and all the VAT fees you have to be concerned about for taxes and that. If that overwhelms you and concerns you, don't worry about selling internationally. You can just focus on the US market and sell specifically to the US. And then you don't have to worry about the other things that entail, because really most of our sales come from right here in the USA. So that would be my advice for you. If it stresses you out, just sell primarily here in the US, and only don't do international shipping. Okay, can EverBee also be used in phones or only in laptops? Thank you, sir. That is a great question. It is a Chrome extension tool. So I you that's a good question, but I would imagine because it's a Chrome extension tool that you add on, I believe you can only use it on your laptop or on your computer. But I will double check on that and get back to you. If you ask this question, Christina, in the comment section down below after this live stream, I'll get a better answer for you. But I'm 99.9% positive you can only use it on your laptop. Okay, what makes a listing high quality? So as I mentioned before, a high quality listing includes a trending design, something that someone's actually buying, that they're already buying. There's proven data behind it, using proven keywords with a decent amount of search volume, as well as using long tail keywords. So very niche specific keywords. So instead of using just like nurse sweatshirt, do like, I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but a longer tail keyword is like cute shirt for a nurse student or something like that. That was a horrible example, but using these more targeted keywords so that you can show up in search results, especially if you're a newer shop. And then also making sure you're using high quality mockups. I always recommend purchasing your mockups off of Etsy, because you can buy very affordable mockups for a great price that are very high quality and look very professional and look very realistic. I know there's a lot of tools out there like Placeit, as well as Vexels has a mockup generator, but I personally just don't like those mockups. I don't think they have as high of a conversion, and they don't perform as well for me. So I like to purchase all of my mockups off of Etsy and use those in my store. But those are the three biggest things I would recommend for a high quality listing. And also another thing too is like making sure you're creating listings for your customer, not for yourself. I know in the beginning it's very easy to want to create listings that are, or create designs that you would wear personally, but a lot of times there are designs that will sell that I would never wear or my wife would wear. But you have to be willing to step outside of the box and create something for someone else other than yourself in order to really see progress and success in your store. And that doesn't mean you can't add your own spin and your own creativity on it, but don't be afraid to create something that you wouldn't wear. Okay. Marina, happy and successful New Year, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in, Marina. What are the different tools and POD companies that you personally use for your Etsy store? Thank you, sir. Great question. So we use both Printful and Printify depending on what we're selling, but we primarily use Printify right now, specifically Swift POD as well as Monster Digital for our print providers. But there are also some one-off items that we sell that we can only use, that Printify doesn't offer, or at least a good print provider doesn't offer. So we use Printful for that. So we're using both of those, but mostly Printify right now. Tools that we're using are the EverBee Chrome extension for our trend research, as well as for our keyword research. We are also using Vexels. Creative Fabrica is another great tool that we use for designs. Procreate's another tool that we use for doing more like hand-drawn stuff or creating our designs. My wife uses that a lot. But those are some of the major ones that we're using that we have had the most success with, and that we really back and we are behind because we think they are very valuable and can add a lot of value to your business. Okay, do you think listing videos helps boost sales? So I don't know. I think it definitely can help increase conversion. I know we've created a few listings now that have videos added to them and they haven't sold yet, but I do think if you can add a video to one, it will definitely increase conversion, because it is just another way for the customer to really get an idea of how it fits, how it looks, and really it does way more than just a picture does. So I think if you want to do it, it will not hurt you at all. It will only benefit you, but I don't think it is absolutely required and necessary in order to get sales. But it is a tool that you can now use on Etsy, and I think it's a great thing to be using. Okay. Sir, is there a tool or easier way to manage different Etsy stores without needing to log in and out of each account? Thank you, sir. I don't know about specifically a tool so you can like access all of your stores at once on one platform, but for doing like bulk editing and stuff, a tool I would recommend is Vela. It's Get Vela. Um, but if you just search Vela, here, let me double check. One second here. They've changed it up now, but it's getvela.com, I think. But yeah, getvela.com. Their tool is called Vela, but it's a great tool for bulk editing. It used to be free, but now they do have a paid plan, but it's depending on what plan you get, it's either $5 or $10. And obviously, the more you pay, the more features you get. But it's a great tool because you can quickly edit all of your listings at once. And there's more bulk editing things you can do within Vela that you can't do directly on Etsy. So that would be a tool I'd recommend. But you can't necessarily like do customer service through it or create listings for all of your stores at once right on that platform. So that's a good question, though. If there is one, I need to find it, and if anyone finds out about one, let me know. Awesome. Are there? Okay, Patricia, I bought a video mockup. I can't figure out how to use it. So there are a few tutorials out there on how to create your video mockups, but this is a great video idea that I will do on my channel. Thank you for the recommendation. I will show you how to create video mockups for your Etsy store. So thank you for the recommendation. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this live stream today. It was good to have you on. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe. I share a lot of valuable information and step-by-step tutorials that will help you really get your business up and running. And also make sure you go and join our Facebook group, Print on Demand Warriors. Great place to be a part of a wonderful community. And I just want to thank all of you for your continuous support, for tuning in on this live stream, and for watching my videos. It means a lot. And I hope you all have a happy new year, and I wish you the best. I do want to share with you, if you haven't seen my most recent video yet, it's on digital products. I'll share the link in the chat here. One second. But I did a video about digital products that you can sell in the coming year. And some of these digital products are very impressive. There's one specific one that has generated close to $30,000 in profit in the last month. And so if you're interested in selling digital products, this video should pique your interest. But let me go ahead and share this with you. Okay, I just added that to the chat there. But if you haven't seen that video, make sure you go and watch it. Some really interesting ideas that you could possibly start selling in the coming year if you want to start a digital product store. But thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Happy New Year's. And make sure you go and set your goal today for how many listings you want to do every single day in the coming year. And remember, just stick with it. You could be just one design away from really having your store take off. So don't quit too soon, because you will regret it. But I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I wish you all a very wonderful and successful and healthy and safe 2023. Okay, you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks.